Welcome, everybody, to Mud Flood was Armageddon. Mud Flood was Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else unless they're willing to debate you in a fair and honest way. Well, as I mentioned last night and the night before, Randy is back from vacation and we've had some conversation. We've gotten some meat on the bone and we're going to talk about it, Lord willing, when he joins us. Now, he's not feeling the best tonight, so he might not stay through the whole show. But I'm not sure, since he was on vacation and he had zero truther news and stuff like that, if he's aware that Jamie Lee, a plain truth, uh, the truthers, Jamie Lee, and he's not a Christian man, but he was a with those seekers that just went to the Atlantis thing. I haven't done anything about it, but he's touched all of our lives and he's not an enemy. And even if he was, we love him. He was not as disrespectful as a lot of people that go down the Ashkenazi, or not the Ashkenazi, but the Akashic record type of a situation. So a little bit of Jamie Lee's video, a remembrance of Jamie Lee while we wait on Randy. Good stuff.
Exchange conference in Paris. So, a link to his YouTube channel.
This was the memorial
which
on
is also just
315,
filled with
a 9/11 truther.
a whole lot of information. And when I saw this, I saw, okay, the last video was 6 months ago. But I was seeing videos posted by A Plain Truth, and I included a lot of the videos in live streams. So see, it's not coming up. So if anybody has the link to other Plain Truth channels, please share the link with us. You can do that when
I can't
I
find.
post, when the live is over, and then it just posts automatically to the live section of my channel.
He has so many backup channels.
And the CAFRA reports, remember, I posted on it, he posted on it, a whole lot of people were posting on it. This is crucial information. It is so important for people to understand that the budget that politicians talk, local government, state government, federal government, the budget that they talk about is not the budget that you see. The real budget. This is the real budget.
Hi, welcome to another video.
So that's Jamie. I'm just wondering if I'm showing it, because when I'm showing another screen that had the sound on it. Welcome, Marcella. Kind of holding on, hoping that Randy finds his algorithm. He had a hard time finding it on the show last night, but the truth is out there. And if there's ever an example of someone that knew so much truth, it just, his heart wasn't changed, so he couldn't see. They don't understand that part about he takes our punishment. I think that's what it is. A little bit more. Otherwise, we're going to go on with the study of the chords and the meter and the mysterious ways the universal measurements, that's what they call them, universal measurements. Back to a little bit more, remembering Jamie Lee, the truther.
Go from a plain truth.info. And on this day, July 4th, 1776, where the United States of America's got all their red, white, and blue flags flying as they think it's patriotic, as we, the people, and the United States citizens are celebrating their independence, where nothing could be further from the truth. So let's debunk all this a little more. We're the founding fathers, ordinary people, and then we'll get into taxation, and then we'll get into the CAFR reports where they hide all the excess money, steal it, skim it from the top, put it in offshore accounts to the tune of tens of trillions of dollars. So this is from a piece last 2 years ago, 2015. Scott Walker, governor who's running for president, tells the audience a story about his first visit to Independence Hall in Philadelphia, where the founding fathers, all 55, 56 of them, all white men, all rich landowners, we're trying to set up the we the people country, and omit women, omit Native Americans, omit slaves, but it's we the people that own land. So Walker.
All right, I'm going to post a link to this video because it is very important. Just listening to his voice is kind of it can't be true, but it's true. He also did videos like I'm cloned. Yeah, the breadth of his knowledge was pretty intense.
There's that video, because if you ever want to, get the truth, you can get the truth from Jamie. You get the Bible from me.
Erased. And all of this kind of stuff is actually taking place. And we don't know what we are already living. We don't know what we are already living. Can you imagine the coming days, weeks, months, and years? And he did love animals.
Jamie probably reached his peak when he was right there on the ground in the Paradise Fires in 2019. Oh my goodness. Was it that long ago?
No need for a brain chip. Targeted individuals are those who the government, via the military and intelligence complex, or there's an awful lot involved, all of these agencies, has picked out to harass, assault, and attack with advanced forms of invisible electronic weapons. 21st century mind control technology is incredibly advanced. We need to face the reality that military intelligence agencies worldwide can manipulate our thoughts, dreams, and emotions. These targeted individuals are being electronically stalked and harassed with directed energy weapons, also known as scalar weapons,
Who's to say they're
weapons,
not?
and non-lethal weapons, which blast the victim's head with electromagnetic radiation. These assaults can insert voices into people's heads, which they mistake for their own thoughts, can induce severe negative emotions, depression, suicidality or suicidal ideation, and can even cause paralysis and death. Ex-CIA engineer Robert Duncan has done an outstanding job in coming forward and exposing the true state of current technology, much of which he knew about firsthand experience.
And that is
since
what
he was involved in
the
constructing it.
deal is that from what I can glean from this is that Jamie probably was under attack from not, just the gaslighting, but whatever's going on with those people, something's really happening. And I guess he shrunk down in a wheelchair and died thinking, I'm under attack from the government. There's nothing I can do. That is so sad. That's so sad to me. I wanted to, you know, if Randy comes on, we'll let him know because I don't think he knows yet. But I want to share the pictures that I saved to, you know, this will explain a lot of the chords and the meter and a lot of other things about your biome. I've been studying that. It all ties into everything of they're trying to get, instead of the set order of the end from the beginning, the Alpha and the Omega, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, everything's held together by Him. See, I crossed out the earth because it's not a globe like that. But they have this all worked out with the King James Bible that it's going to come back to the Giza Plateau. Oh, there, I hear Randy is here. Hey, man. Just a minute, Randy. This new computer here is driving me nuts. So did you hear? Have you heard any of it that Jamie Lee from a plaintruth.info has passed away? I guess the last 6 months reason that we haven't been hearing, the man that's famous for the Paradise Fires.
Sure.
He died in a wheelchair thinking he was under attack from those MK Ultra machines, and there's something to it. I don't know that everybody that claims it is, there's
So, difficult to prove either way. So yeah, that's certainly a sad story, regardless of the reality of the specifics, the details, for
right,
sure.
because as that he knew the truth about 9/11, Sandy Hook, the Boston Marathon Massacre, Maui, Paradise Fires. He was an expert on everything, and he was an expert on all other religions except Christianity. It was very frustrating. I've been frustrated with Jamie. He's frustrated with people like me. But a good
Yeah.
truther, for us, it is as simple as somehow, some way, Jesus Christ is going to drive you to your knees and you're going to confess with your mouth because you actually believe in your heart that he's the Alpha and the Omega, the end from the beginning. It's everything is to do with Jesus. Some people are never going to get it, I guess. Sad.
Yeah, and that's the reality, the world we live in, with the prevalent evil that seems to be abounding, along with what you just described.
Prevalent.
Yeah,
I'm not
it's
laughing, but
everywhere. It's everywhere. Or I mean, if it isn't around you, consider yourself fortunate, because
we'll see if the Lord brings us back to the whole. What is it? It's more than gaslighting. Gaslighting is their tricking you. Oh, the phone's not ringing. But here's the meat of what you were kind of like. The cubit and the meter came up when we were talking this morning, so I fixated on it.
Yep.
Okay, you remember. Okay. Here's the thing. I'll show these pictures now. They've got it all figured out. And I've done videos on these guys, the Shakespeare Code. If anybody has a pen, you can write it down and look it up. And it all comes down to that John Dee, Bacon, all that demon worshiping they were doing, they came up with the earth, wrote a Bible where a secret code is going to be revealed that the pyramids have something to do with it, that proves that the earth equilateral circumference is 40075. You don't have to remember these numbers. There will be some numbers later I want you to remember. But, you know, they got it all figured out, man, based on the meter. You see, because as long as if you get the pendulum the way they want it set in, no, that's not the circle of life thing. This is how they try to get order out of chaos. It'll all make sense. Give me a couple of minutes. But the swing back and forth is what they consider 1 second, and the length is 1 meter based on their, and which is why the Hindus, the Indians, especially, you know, Mumbai, they love 180, 108, anything, especially 108. But like a 1-800 is good, man. It's like, to them, it's better than 42. We'll get to that. I crossed this out especially for you, big brother, because I know,
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
because it looked like, you know, they had to just, you know. Did you send me that?
I don't
That's a
believe
skull.
I did. Yeah, well, I
Oh,
see what
maybe
it appears like. Yeah. But
could have been. It could have been Muddy Orphan, 1812. He sent some videos, and I've done a video about the place, these mountains where this thing is. It's one of those monasteries that's, you know, just parked on the top of a mountain. This was in my feed this morning, man. This is gotta be a body part of a Titan. I'm putting this on its, honestly, this I'm putting on a midbrain. This trunk of it would be the attaching part to, this could be its dome skull. Honestly, it could. This could be an intact skull with the back of your pons. It's the PONS for those of you with a pencil. And that would mean that your adrenal glands are on each side. His pituitary gland would be right in here somewhere. Because this whole area looks weird, doesn't it? I just couldn't place it. But I think that this didn't get melted so much because it was buried in sand and then got washed away with one of the tsunamis. Didn't kill everybody. God only promised I wouldn't send a flood where nothing live would make it. So I got that from the Bing. It was free. This is one of these times I want you to remember the numbers. Probably should get a little bit of a heads up just for a few seconds. It's this guy. Nerd alert.
Logarithms to the base 10. So for example, if I have a number which is 100, I can think of that as 10 squared, or 10, to the power 2. So 2 is the logarithm of this number, 100, to the base 10. 1,000 is 10 to the 3. And this is the logarithm, the 3, and it corresponds to the number of zeros there. It is logarithm of 1,000 equals 3.
Okay, well, we all know that, but you know how come surveyors, you know, the old-fashioned rod and chain surveyors like I did when I was in the 82nd Airborne, You know how come like when we do our math, we have to do it all in our head. We can't carry the numbers, subtract, and put it, nothing goes on it except the numbers and the equation and the answer. It's because how do you know if you're carrying a number if all of a sudden that number's not squared or cubed or something like that? When you leave, and this isn't a dig on algebra, because like algebra 2 to me is still like super hard. It's not a dig on algebra, but kind of is. So
Yeah,
this
you
is
need a memory. Yeah.
it's not like I could even really understood trigonometry. I just fake it. So that will explain some of these pictures. Now, so in the video, after he does this thing about it's cubed, and he goes, actually, you can cube any number and divide it by the square root of 10. So he picks 6232. That's the number I want you to remember. Because 6232, the square logarithm of 6232 is 42. And I'll
You mean
refresh.
6 point? Or what do you mean? Is there a
1
decimal
point.
point in it?
For the logarithm, I only care about the 6232.
Oh, okay.
It basically is just, it's the 10. And it
Well,
comes out to 42. You need a book. You see, you got to have this book. I think I took a picture of it. We look up the numbers in it. See, order out of chaos.
you want to be sharing, right? Or no?
I am sharing in my mind. Everybody.
Okay, that's the memory
Oh,
thing.
I'm so mad. I just broke it down and it was good. Oh, oh, Randy. I'll just do it
Yeah, I
again.
was distracting you. Sorry about that.
It's okay. No, you weren't. I was distracting myself. Did I show the pictures of the mountain?
You did.
Okay. The math stuff. Here's the number I want you to remember. 6232 in the logarithm book, it turns out to be 42. 10 to the power, just of any random number. You look in the logarithm book. Oh, wow, it's 42. 1,000. This is 10 cubed. That just proves the whole that the Greek it was only talks in express sacred math. Now, when they mess up sacred math, everyone, you get Moser's circle problem. If it is not perfectly aligned, where there is no such thing as an irrational number that they try to force down our throat, first off, what do we notice? 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. What's the next number? What would
32.
Wrong?
Oh, 31.
Because they didn't start with the perfect like God would start it. God wouldn't start it on a random spot. He would make sure he knew that it was perfectly level. They base all of their Pythagoras order out of chaos. It's been so clear to me, but I couldn't verbalize it like I'm verbalizing it now. This is how they get their order out of chaos. We can do it, and they can make some math work and come up with some Corinthian chords, but that's not music to me. See, they think this is okay. This would be the generic case if you just choose random points, and they like order out of chaos. Just pick any random thing, and it doubles up to 16 megabytes. Oh, never mind. But they consider that okay. You know what's not okay to them? Perfection, a perfect scribed circle. They hate it. They only want to make order out of chaos. Why not just start with something that's, we don't need to round the numbers. It's good. Doesn't it depend on where the points are to get pi? But they are not trying to get a real grip on pie. They've got something that works and they're going to force it down your throat. Really. But it's true. Take any 2 points at random and you'll break it down 2, then 4, then 8, then 16. 31. But it's just shy of 1. You don't end up with the power of 2 that anybody in their right mind would expect to the meter, the second, and the Egyptian royal cubit. I'm going to read it again. This is the way. The meter, the second, and the Egyptian royal cubit of the Great Pyramid of Giza are linked. Well, you linked them, you globe tard. I told them, man. So is this a guy? Yeah, they made up this whole thing about the 1 meter because they had to backward engineer it. Somehow those geniuses, pre-flood or whoever, probably God, had it all laid out. See what they, when they want to hang their pendulum, did they just notice they didn't hang their pendulum on this line that would be extended out there? It'd swing funny on one side. No, they know that it had to be a perfect line to hang their pendulum on because, well, plumb line doesn't care where you hang it. It's going to hang perfect. A circle with a 1 meter radius has a circumference of 2 pi meters, 30 degrees, or 33rd to 33 continue into what they call infinity, the gradient, and their radius of that circle is the same as the radian and the meters, or the Egyptian royal cubit. It equals 1 Egyptian royal cubit. So they can't tell me that our modern meter is modern. They got it all figured out. We're going to go switch to the metric system any minute now, Randy. When that we were told when we were in 5th and 3rd grade.
Yeah.
I'm going to switch to the metric system as soon as we get you kids all dyslexic.
Back to motives and intent. Yeah.
This is just the precursor. I got a lot more real good proofs. It was nice to see Arturo. We cooked them up a little mushroom and truffle pizza. They were on sale at the Safeway. You got it.
Yeah.
Anyway, you guys know Joe from the science show. He's smart, right?
Okay.
I'm going to touch on the speed of light, so we have to go over that. A meter was refined to equal. They couldn't come up with a good definition once they found out that the Earth that they measured it on wasn't a complete circle, but it's, in their world, an oblate spheroid. They had to change the measurement to a meter to the times the wavelength of light. So they had to pick a number that would work, and they have a made up number for what they say is the constant speed of light, but they know there is no constant speed of light. It, just like everything else, it varies on the source.
Sure. Yep.
So they made up a number, and so now, as of 2018, that's the new definition of a meter. We'll find out the definition of a meter has changed hundreds of times. And you know what they call it? Krypton 86. That's the new name of what they came up with, the wavelength to base the meter on. Have fun with that, Superman fans. Krypton will kill the Superman if he eats it or something. And 86 that's what the mafia goes if they go, I'm going to 86 that guy. I think that's why that one was Agent 86 from Get Smart. I know that's why. Okay, the force of there's something called gravity in their world, and they say it can vary. So, can't trust the pendulum. What are we going to do? Because pendulums, that. You remember that old song, Randy? Have you ever heard that song about England swinging?
I may have. I can't.
Well, maybe I can jog your memory. England swing like a pendulum do. Bop his own
Oh, okay.
bicycle 2x2.
I
Westminster
do know.
Abbey, the Tower of Big Ben. Come on, finish it off, man. The rosy red cheeks of the little children. I know they were working on this stuff. Oh, I'm supposed to read this. Burrell also argued that the conspiracy extended far beyond this small group of philosophies. He believed that the court of Louis XV was a Voltairean ministry of powerful men. This group involved Marquis de Argenson, who, open quote, formed the plan for the destruction of all religious orders in France, close quote. Well, the dirty dog, you know? Who does he think
Yeah.
he is? There was this other guy that was supposed to be the protector of the conspiracy. What was he doing? Sitting down on the job? This all goes back to 1789. I feel like it's deja vu again. Did I cover this already? Yeah, that
This
must be left.
morning.
Okay. Okay, so we're done with the pictures. A chord. Okay, this will be quick. A chord, meaning a bowstring. A chord of a circle is a straight line segment whose endpoints both lie. This is, you guys saw that, the whole tangent thing right there. More generally, a chord is a line segment joining 2 points on any curve. For instance, on an ellipse, a chord that passes through a circle's center point is the diameter. I'm sorry, I don't know where people are. That's the best, it's math. It's fun. It's not Pythagoras. Here's some pictures they call everything Pythagoras. He's testing out how to do the water. Of course, he's Greek. Rumor has it he's Greek. So they're going to play the bells. And they're going to hit that industrial rock, where they hit, that's them doing something on an anvil. I can't really tell what he's holding with it must be, could be ball, Pythagoras. Here's some sort of early timpani or something. Huh. We're live. There's your musical scale. Want to hear it? That started it all. The pattern of half steps, whole steps, and Ionian. That's the mid level. It goes Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian. They have 3 levels of their triple trinity of their chords. And they put it on every building when they turned away from God, I guess. Music theory is the study of practices and possibilities of music. Musicology. There's musical signatures, time signatures, and rhythmic signatures. And this is somehow, we can't cover everything tonight, but if they remember one thing, we never needed the 440 frequency. Everything was fine before that. It was a lot worse, for everything else. In history of music, well, it's always been around, and we've always been copying it. How recent are the resets when you have to, you hear about these people, you see it on the reruns of Andy Griffith, people show up saying, well, we need to record your accent because we're traditional Aboriginal didgeridoo. That's a fun word to say, right? Didgeridoo. Music is a big part of life, and it's not 440. But just like our country, it's all GMO all the time here, man. Wow. You got to lift those bells. You're going to get in shape. How do you stay in shape? I'm a musician. Again, people like to point out when they ever see a Star Wars Princess Leia type hairdo, they go, "Oh, it's Star Wars." He's playing the bongo. This one's playing the flute. Uh-oh, horns. So Tubal Cain, Jubal and Tubal, one did the metal and one did the music, and they got it all figured out. We have 5 classics of Confucianism, Indian. Everybody's got their musical tastes, and you can trace it, except for the missing 1,000 years that they forced on us. Let's see. So it's a big part of everybody's life.
Was redefined again as the distance that light in a vacuum travels in 1/299,792,458th of a second. And we're
All right, so they're lying, Randy.
Yep.
They're just full of
Still.
crap.
They're still lying.
Yeah.
Regardless of how many times they change it, they'll still be lying.
This guy, Albert. In 1905, Albert postulated from the outset that the speed of light in a vacuum measured by a non-accelerating observer is independent of the motion of the source or observer. Using this and the principle of relativity, which is stupid, as a basis, he derived the special ed theory of relativity. Is that too mean? Because I don't want to make fun of special ed people, because it's not their fault. They've had this perpetrated upon them.
Yeah, it shouldn't be their fault, but
They get the blame. In which the speed of light in a vacuum. How you? Okay, get your stopwatch out, boys. They got it all figured out. Because you ever see those? You ever heard of these fast swimming boys that are really set the world records? They got that down to
You mean in the women's competition, or which?
Yeah, when they, or men or women, it doesn't matter. When
Well,
they
no,
race
but I
each
mean,
other, they finish
the men
within
that go in the women,
0.006 seconds. They somehow they really got time narrowed down now. They measure the winner of a race by 0.003. There's no more ties anymore, I don't think. Here's that Krypton 86 again. We read about that. 1957. It's when they, that's 12th General Assembly. So the whole world got involved in what's the speed of light. And it ends up being, in the meter. I've been here. I didn't know it was that new. 72, huh? So this is just a breakdown here. This is the picture. They sure wasted their time faking that they did a survey crew from this point to this point, and now all the maps work. Earth is a perfect circle globe. Oops. Sorry, guys. Neil deGrasse Tyson said it's an oblate spheroid. So we can't use all this hard work anymore. What's up with that, Randy?
well, I think that's their way of, how do you take a flat map and stretch it over a ball is where that comes in handy.
They reversed engineered it with the wrong info. Garbage in and garbage out. So that's why they have to change it. I don't care how cool this gravimeter with the variant of the Repsol Bessel Pendium how accurate it works, not accurate compared to God. This has been written from the beginning. So here, supposedly, they were doing this in no way. 1784, 1790. That's like, were Lewis and Clark, were they surveyors too? Or were they just explorers?
Yeah, I'm not certain what their forte was, other than being there.
Greenwich Mean Time. It's not that it's really that mean. It's just it's not a morning person. Anybody? Anybody? Anybody think that? So anyway, this is the starting point, I guess. It's where they started it. It says Dunkerque Belfort. This is the belfry of the Church of Saint Eloi Dunkirk, the northern end of the Meridian Arc running south to Barcelona. That's in Spain. What are you talking about, this Meridian Arc? In the 16 and 1700s, although it had been known since Pythagoras, that whole classical, we can make chaos, we can make it work. They thought the earth was spherical. Ha! Flatter than a pancake. But they can't even get it to work on a spheroided ball. Pear, I mean. Pendulum clock, cayenne, latitude, won in the contest. So this is all fake. Show me the picture. Yeah, their math works. Too bad that it's not a ball.
Yeah, Google knows how to make it work.
Yeah, you got a fast enough computer. Hey, that looks kind of like Fort Jefferson. But this is the other end in Spain. They got their own Meridian Arc. I wonder if they engraved it in the ground and wasted their time. That is not an accurate surveying equipment. Are those the heroin poppy plants? I know they're red. I used to buy those. So is this a mud flood building, RJ? Because that's exactly a meter, and they think they made it up in the 1600s, 1700s. I think it's a lot older. It's like a cubit. You know, darn, somebody forgot to break the nose off of this statue. It's an analogy. I know it's not a real nose. I know that. These guys are getting ready for lunch somewhere. Switzerland. Oh no, they're doing the metric Spanish standard. That's the apparatus calibrated for the metric Spanish standard. It equals the Egyptian cubit. They all do. So supposedly they did this survey. It all was for naught. It's the oblate spheroid, but in 1889 they passed these out to any country that wanted them. They said, this is the new meter. We just made it up. And all the countries said, we're on board. And the United States said, go to hell. We're not changing. And there's like two countries that didn't change, Botswana and the United States. Historic Dutch replicas of metric standards in the collection of the Rijksmuseum Amsterdam. Rijk, it would probably be better. Iron meter and case constructed by Etienne Lenoir close to 1800. And you could, one thing's for sure, baked beans with a little bit of bacon in it, and those pots would be perfect. All right. Like I said, too much. It's all fake. We can go over this again some other time. Here's your Paris Meridian. Jacobitism. No, Leviathan, that's from the other night. Where's that other stuff I had on this? Dang, Randy, I think that was going to be an overview. I thought I had a lot more information. I could break it down, but where was the stuff on the Corinthian order? I know I had some stuff on that. Would it have been under the history of music? Did I close that one out? What is a meter? History of music. Yep, it got closed out. So somehow I was counting on this taking me to that Ionic and that Corinthian order. Medieval music. There's no such thing as medieval. So these are Bible instruments. These people look like they're of color to me. Those troubadours entertaining it looks like a biracial monarch. What's your favorite instrument to play, Randy? The triangle? Look at that guy. He's into it. It's harder than you think. I just like the simple hit the wood together, the blocks.
Versus over the kazoo or something.
Well, the kazoo, that's a little bit tricky. I've done the harmonica and I can make that work. What in the world? Hours of Charles the Noble. He looks like he is a part greyhound, part musician, nature lover, ornate hat. He's half dog, man. What's going on? So music is weird. Hey, that's King David. Right. So music is fun. Well, let's see. Music theory. I'm going to check that one more time. Time signatures, tuning systems. It's interesting that a lot of people find it interesting that you really can't tune a piano, like Joe Walsh said. You can buy a can of tuna fish, but you can't tune a piano. What constitutes music? The definition of music endeavors to give an accurate and concise explanation of music's basic attributes or essential nature, and it involves a process of defining what is meant by the term music. So you always got to go back. Music versus noise. An often cited example of dilemma in defining music came in 1952. Here's a question, out of the blue, Randy. Whatever would attract somebody? Do you have to train your ear to appreciate that opera music? Because when I hear opera, I just click, it's off. I turn it right off. But a lot of people love it.
Yeah, if you had the basic of Latin, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. But I mean, the people that love it right now, they're on a plane. They're coming to my house. They want to beat me up. Go like, don't you ever say you can question the Trinity and all of history but don't you knock the opera. And I'm going like, dude, I had no idea you were that into it. I apologize.
Yeah, I don't have the budget for it. I know that.
That's for sure.
Or the time.
So here's the mid-level Ionic. So we might as well, because this will get us to the music and it's a good base, because there are of the three canonic orders of classical architecture. Whenever you see the top of these pillars, it always tells you, were they alpha, beta, or gamma compared to, their lost world of, their Greek gods where they were showing favoritism. Well, the list of crimes they did in Psalm 82. But anyway, they had this whole composite order. I should have remembered that this is the ionic order. Now the Canthus plant on the top order, the Corinthian, like these, it's decorated with these spirals and these plants. These plants, I have forgotten I know that you don't have to plant them. You can throw them down and they grow.
So they're fairly hardy, huh?
Yep. And they're considered invasive, but they do have healing properties. An ionic capital. And even the fake ones that they put in public schools depends on, are you a targeted, you're going to be a good one, or you'll go to a school that has these type of capitals. Otherwise, if you're like in Palisade, Colorado, you visited that town when you wanted to witness for yourself the throne stone. Their high school has Doric, so they were just a low end grow the food thing, Now it's a tourist place. The more ornate you could make them, and it was the same in their music and everything. But they took it to the Tower of Babel. It wasn't enough that they got punished before the flood. After the flood, people still wanted to not be patient and wait on the Lord for him to provide himself as the sacrifice. And they started doing other sacrifices. Now, if you were a top Corinthian order, you could just go crazy because you had all the money in the world. And once it got corrupted, I mean, that has to blow people away, Brother Randy. I mean,
Yeah, the amount of detail is
how much would that one of these cost today? Yeah, I'm looking for a spinning marble column that's going to be painted gold and embellished, and I want it to look good. Where do you go? Where do you go today? Because there's competition, but you don't worry about it. You can do it. They could do it. I think that's Trinitarian worship right there. I think it's ISIS worship. People aren't going to want to hear it, but I'm ready to go because these orders, they try to hide them and they hide it in the music. They change it because they figure they only got 22 years left and they don't care about an insignificant percentage. They've got the world deceived. But I do care about the narrow road because I'm on it. You're on it. We're on it. These people listening, some of them are on it. And, they want to tell me we can do this today. And I want to tell them, would you please hush your mouth? Because try as we might. Well, I'm not saying we couldn't make one or two. But this was a competition because there's a lot more than one or two. And these are the top orders. We need to know the orders. And this is really just showing me because it does. There's just the good examples. It's something that everybody should have a familiarity with, which is why I'm glad, although I didn't understand it at the time when my dad would, and force me to learn, and do all the, here's the Greek gods and the Titans and stuff. Well, I'm kind of glad I did now. 16 Alpha wants to have more cowbell. I'm familiar with that one. Are you, Randy?
Yeah, I think I've heard that request before.
You know who that's? Christopher Walken. He was a ballroom dancer turned actor, And from what I can tell, he's probably one of the best. I wonder if we could talk our way through. We're going to end our show on a craziness here. Ready?
Yeah, bring it in. Yeah.
All right. I'm not going to get, un momento. I want to make sure I get just the actual, I want to play the Sicilian scene. A lot of people know it's coming, but why is it supposed to be 10 minutes long? It's only a short clip. I'm going to type it in and then just give me a second because you're going to want to see this. All right. Well, here's a shorter version. I'm going to just check and see if there's any that are. Well, this might explain it. I'll share.
Hey, Frankie, go tell Vic to go outside and do you know what? Do you know who I am, Mr. Worley?
So this is a couple actors. They're playing the parts so that I can show it Creative Commons. You're going to have to imagine the couple of the best actors ever, Dennis Hopper and the aforementioned Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken is an Italian Sicilian mafia don, and they have the following conversation.
No, I give up. Who are you?
I'm the Antichrist. And you got me in a vendetta kind of mood. You told the angels in heaven that you'd never seen evil so singularly personified as you did in the face of the man who killed you. See, my name is Vincenzo Cocotti. I work as a counsel for Mr. Blue Boyle. He's the man that your son stole from. Now, I heard you were once a cop, so I assume you've heard of us before. Am I correct?
Yeah, I've heard of Lulu Boyle.
Good. So that'll help clear up the how full of crap I am question you've been asking yourself. Now, we're going to have a little Q&A. And at the risk of sounding redundant, please make your answers genuine.
Have you ever heard of the Greek pantomime system, RJ?
Pantomime?
Yeah.
That's where, well, isn't that just where nothing's said, but just.
Those people that do pantomimes with the black and white, it's based on, you can read what they say by their actions. The Greeks thought they could read every little eyebrow twitch, and that's the pantomime.
Okay.
Can I offer you a Chesterfield? I have a son about your boy's age. So I can imagine how painful this must be for you. But your son, Clarence, and that bitch whore girlfriend of his, they brought this all on themselves. And I implore you not to go down that road with them. You can take comfort in the fact that you never had a choice.
I would like to help you if I could, but I haven't seen Clarence.
Oh, it hurts, don't it? You get slammed in the nose. Got that pain shooting up through your brain. Eyes fill up with water. Ain't any kind of fun. I guarantee you, what I have to offer you, it's as good as it's ever going to get. And it ain't ever going to get that good again. Now, we talked to your neighbors. They said they saw a Cadillac, a purple Cadillac. Clarence's purple Cadillac, parked outside of your trailer yesterday. Mr. Worley, have you seen your son?
Yeah, I've seen him.
Now, I can't be sure of how much of what he told you, so in the chance that you're in the dark about some of this, let me shed some light. See, that whore that your boy hangs around with, her pimp is an associate of mine. And I don't just mean in pimp, and in other affairs, he works for me in a courier capacity. Well, apparently that dirty little whore found out when we were going to do some business. And because your son and the cowboy and his flame came in the room blazing, and they didn't stop until they were pretty sure everybody was dead.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about a massacre. They snatched my narcotics and hightailed it out of there. And they would have gotten away with it too. Except your son, dumbass that he is, he left his driver's license in a dead man's hands. A whore in the commode filled in the blanks for us.
I don't believe you.
That's really of little importance. What's of major importance is that I believe you. Now, where did they go?
Here comes the pantomime.
On their honeymoon.
Come on. I get sick of asking the same question twice. Where did they go?
They didn't tell me. Hey, wait a minute. No, you listen to me, okay? I haven't seen Clarence in 3 years. So yesterday he shows up to my house with a girl and tells me he got married. Starts talking about how he needs to come up with some quick cash for their honeymoon. So he asked to borrow $500. I wanted to help him, so I wrote him out a check. Then the next morning we had breakfast together, and that's the last I saw them. So help me God, they never thought to tell me where they were going. And quite honestly, I never thought to ask.
It hurts. Yeah. See, Sicilians are great liars. The best in the world. I'm Sicilian. And my father was the world heavyweight champion of Sicilian liars. You see, from growing up with him, I learned the pantomime. There are 17 things a guy can do to give himself away when he lies. A guy's got 17. A woman's got 20, but a guy's got 17. Now, if you know him like you know your own face, there'll be lie detectors to hell. Now, what we got here is a little case of show and tell. You want to show me nothing, and you're telling me everything. Now, I know you know where they are, so tell me before I do some damage that you might not walk away from.
Can I have one of those Chesterfields now?
Sure.
Hold on to your hat, Randy. You're about to hear some crazy. What do they call that? I want you to decode this for me, brother. I really do.
Hey, you got a light?
This is exactly like the movie, except they're not the famous actors, but they are killing it. They are doing a great job. Just like watching the movie True Romance.
So you say you're a Sicilian, right?
Yeah, Sicilian.
Now, you see, I like to read a lot, especially when it has to do with history. I seem to find that kind of shit quite interesting, actually. In fact, I'm not sure if you know or not, but Sicilians were spawned by niggers.
But come again.
It's true, it's a fact. Sicilians have black blood pumping through their hearts. You see, hundreds and hundreds. You see, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, Sicily was conquered by the Moors. And the Moors are niggers. Way back then, Sicilians were much like the Wops from northern Italy. You know, blonde hair, blue eyes. That is until the Moors moved in, of course. They did so much fucking with the Sicilian women that they completely changed the bloodline forever. You know, from blonde hair and blue eyes to black hair and dark skin. It's quite amazing to me, actually, that to this day, hundreds of years later, Sicilians still carry the nigger gene. Hey, I'm just quoting history. It's a fact. It's written. Your ancestors are black. Your great-great-great-grandmother was fucked by a nigger, which makes you a nigger. That's that. Now, you tell me. Am I lying? Because you're part eggplant.
Oh, it's good.
He kills him right after that.
Sure. And that was a scene from a movie, but not the original scene.
Right. I didn't want to get the copyright strike.
Sure.
But I mean, what did you
But
think
he
of that?
wasn't lying.
What'd you
But he
think of that
wasn't.
conversation?
Well, at the end, apparently he wasn't lying.
And he kind of put that pantomime back into his face, didn't he?
This
You
is
know,
the original
yeah.
without the dialogue.
I just don't want to get the copyright. It even says on it there
right,
it's copyrighted,
But
you know.
you just have it muted, so
Yeah, you know, that, but the thing is, what it's more clear than me ever now that the United States was obviously like South Africa. We taught the Germans how to do the racism with the eugenics laws that were already passed. Hitler was friends of Henry Ford. He learned his hatred of the Jews from people in America. There's been a takeover. It's all true, but they still want to generate a race war when we have to communicate that, look, the United States has to come clean. This cover up is the United States was South Africa, and we boycotted South Africa in the 60s and said, we are not going to stand for your racism. Who is the pot calling the kettle black? You know what I mean? And
sure.
people wonder why we're under a judgment and why I don't think this is a restoration. I think God is angry,
For
and
good reason.
he's warned us about a judgment, and we're in it. Unbelievable.
Things went pretty good. I mean, in the not so distant, for 1,000 years, things went, okay, probably. But yeah,
At least they made it. Yeah.
those days are behind us. And yeah, we know it doesn't go on indefinitely.
Well, the veil is being lifted slowly, and the Lord Jesus Christ will be glorified. His name will be magnified. The efficacy of his blood for those he is forgiven, it will be demonstrated. Anything you want to add, brother, before we wrap it up?
Yeah, well, obviously, be careful where you get your history lesson from, particularly if you're going to school. Be advised, whatever you're being taught probably couldn't be further from the truth.
I may
Other
be
than that,
invited to a church on Wednesday. Should I go to a potluck dinner? How am I going to know what food is there if I should eat it?
well, there's some advice. Don't ask if it was sacrificed to idols.
They might be
Then you can-
charismatic too, is from what I understand. But I'm
Then you-
I'm leaning towards going. Arturo wants me to go, and I'll just go there and witness to him and go like, okay.
Yeah,
We'll
that
see.
would.
Well, we'll
what
talk
could it
about it
hurt?
later. And anything else?
No, sweet dreams when you get there. Whenever that
Amen.
is.
You too, and everybody. We want to remind you that this is our life. This is our calling on Flat Earth Nation with the golden age passed because the mud flood was Armageddon. We're never going to tell you anything else. Why would we? We know we've been called and we do have your best interest at heart. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha.